Hey there again, folks, and it's Brian with Foxfire Armory, and today we are going to be talking about inflation and 10 things that you should start stockpiling before hyperinflation hits. So what is hyperinflation? Hyperinflation is essentially what happens when the when the cost of goods goes up and the dollar goes down. And basically, essentially, your cost of living goes up, but the wages don't go up, right? So things cost more, and you're also essentially making less at that point. So, with that being said, do I believe we are on the verge of hyperinflation? Yes, 100%. I follow the stock market, I follow the logistics sector, and right now, things are not looking good. We've already seen inflation pretty much across the board go up anywhere from 20 to 30%. Corn being up almost 40% right now is the big worry because, well, most fuel has at least 10% ethanol in it, which is made of corn. So that means your cost of goods for transportation goes up, et cetera, et cetera. So these are in no particular order, just the way I wrote them down. The first one is going to be food. And as far as food, it's going to be prepping things like every time you go to the grocery store, buy some extra canned goods, buy some extra dry goods. Rice is a great thing to grab because it's quick, it's easy, and it's essentially calorie dense. Beans, and then meat. Meat in this one particularly is going to be the important one. If you have a deep freezer, highly recommend using it, fill it. If you have a upright freezer, fill it. If you have a fridge freezer, if you have a garage fridge and an in-house fridge, fill both freezers. Whether that's all meat or canned or frozen goods, you should definitely be filling that. Meat is going to be a big one that we're going to see go up. That's chicken, that's pork, that's beef. With the price of corn going up, that translates into things like beef and pork and chicken because it's used for feed. So food is going to be a huge one. Definitely start stockpiling, not necessarily for a disaster purpose, but just because the price of stuff is going to go up. And so you're going to benefit more by stockpiling it now versus buying when the prices go up. So that is it. That's number one, food, get food. Water is going to be basically, if you were to rank these, probably number one there right along with food, but in my list is number two. So number two, water. You should be stockpiling bottled water. If you can, some sort of water brick or other water stores, whether that's a food grade 5-gallon bucket with a screw-on lid, whatever you can do. I definitely recommend bottled water for the simple fact that it's bottled, ready to go. If you can find it, canned water, or they actually come now kind of like in a milk carton style water. Those are actually going to preserve better than bottled water. They're harder to find. They're usually a little bit more expensive, so I tend to steer towards the bottled water just because it's a little more cost effective right now. But definitely start stockpiling water along with your food because, well, things happen and the tap goes off for whatever reason, at least you have water to cook food with. From there is going to be medicine. And if the pandemic has taught us anything, medicine is going to be huge, not only for yourself, but your family. And it's going to be one of those commodities that the prices are probably just going to be driven up, right? If there's less truck drivers to drive things around, get things to grocery stores, get things to other stores, the prices of those are going to go up. And medicine right now is not cheap. If you've ever looked at the current cost of, say, 100 pills of ibuprofen or Tylenol, they're not cheap. Even the generic brands are not that cheap. So look for that to start going up. And if hyperinflation does hit, you're probably talking to where one pill for Tylenol could potentially be as high as $1. So just keep that in mind. I definitely recommend stocking stuff for adults. All your standards, so things like ibuprofen, Advil, aspirin, whatever. And then make sure you have stuff for the kids. children's Tylenol, children's Motrin, all that stuff. Make sure you have that available also if you have children. And if you have babies, I currently still have an under 1-year-old. Make sure you have infant Tylenol, infant Motrin, that kind of stuff, because you really never know. And if your baby spikes a fever and the prices are now $20 for a little tiny bottle of infant Tylenol, wouldn't you be glad you had that back when it was $7 a bottle? So medicines, they do have a shelf life, so keep that in mind, but really, realistically, those shelf lives last longer than is on the box. It's basically degraded effects for most medicines, but definitely check if you're looking to get things like antibiotics, whether they need to be refrigerated for length of life, and some of them will actually go bad to where they can harm you. So make sure you really pay attention to the labels and the ingredients and that kind of stuff. So medicine, number 3. And number 4, to go along with medicine, is going to be medical equipment. I've already seen this with things like gauze and bandages. Those are currently on the rise. Thank God not as high as food currently and gas currently is rising. But medical equipment is definitely on the rise. The mask shortage was a prime example. So start stocking up on things like Band-Aids, Neosporin, any sort of creams like, what's this stuff called? Again, so creams, burn creams, itch creams, whether it's Itch-X or some other form of that. Also stuff for bugs, right? So bug spray, anything, tick removers, sting removers, that kind of stuff. Make sure you got a good stockpile of that. And then anything else. It could be cat tourniquets, could be stuff for pets. If you have pets, stock up on stuff, to take care of your pets also. So medical equipment, that's going to be number 4. And along with the medical equipment, you'll definitely want to know how to use this stuff, right? Having it is great. Knowing how to use it is even better. So number 4, medical equipment. The 5th thing on here is going to be some sort of fuel source, whether that's propane, whether that is butane, or like Coleman fuel, whatever you might need to cook with. Whether it's a camp stove, whether it's the ability to hook it up to your actual stove. Having that stuff on hand is going to be huge. Propane, especially if you like to grill, or if you have a propane camp stove, that's going to be huge, right? That is, the prices that are already going to start going up, and it's just going to get worse if we do happen to see hyperinflation. So number 5 on the list is some sort of cooking fuel. Number 6, and this is just something that's good to have in general, but tools, specifically hand tools, because you never know what's going to happen around the house, and if you have the tools to be able to fix basic stuff, with goods and services going up, a lot of people are not going to be able to afford to hire a handyman to come out and fix the stuff for them. So having at least the minimal set of tools to, say, change a light fixture, a switch, an outlet, that stuff's going to be ideal. So make sure you have hand tools. So there you go. That is, what are we on? Number 6 there. So number 7, clothing. So definitely look for the price of clothing to go up. With everything going on and the fact that we get a lot of our clothing, or at least a lot of our raw materials for clothing, shipped from overseas, what we're seeing in the logistics sector is that things are sitting on the dock for months on end, and there's not enough truck drivers to get that stuff. So if we have a nationwide fuel shortage, combined with the driver shortage, what we're going to see is goods are just not going to get to where they need to go. So look for things like clothing and other goods like shoes and that kind of stuff to start to go up. So if you can afford to do it, and you might in the near future need some clothes, start making sure you stockpile that stuff. You're always going to need it, and clothes really aren't made that well, and you never know going into the next year, 2 years, 3 years, you know, if you have to start going and shopping and a t-shirt, instead of being, say, 20 bucks, is now $40, you're going to be glad you had that stockpile of stuff on the side there. And this list in particular is coming from a mindset of the logistics sector kind of going to crap as we've seen it, even just through the pandemic. And from everything I've been hearing and from everything I've been seeing from people, it doesn't look like it's going to get any better in the near future. So keep that in mind with this list. So number 7 there is going to be clothing. Number 8, this one you can pick and choose, but personally for me, security is high on my list of things. And so guns and ammo. If you can find them, if you can afford them, buy both. Prices, obviously, as we've seen the last year and a half, have been astronomical, really through the roof, and really doesn't matter the type you're buying, right? We've seen it across the board. Anything from 22 long rifle all the way up to like 300 Win Mag. We've seen basically like 70% price increases, if not higher in some cases. So if you have the means and you want to, definitely stockpile that. They would be good barter items for other items on this list if it came down to that. So guns, ammo, number 8. There you go. Might be higher on your list. This is just like I said as I wrote it down. Number 9 is going to be batteries. And that is going to be all your household batteries. It's going to be things like your AA, your AAA, your C, your D, the CR123s, or even, what are they, the 2021As, the little flat ones. Whatever you might actually need battery-wise, make sure you have a stockpile of them, and make sure you have a stockpile to last you for a pretty good while. It's going to be one of the more expensive things on this list, but when you need them, you're going to be happy you had them. So batteries for sure, make sure those are there. And the last one, this is something that I personally believe that this has just been, it's since the dawn of man, I believe it's been there, but gold and silver. Or any sort of precious metal, gem, that kind of stuff. Gold, silver, they may be hard to find right now. They are a little on the pricey side, but you can buy little bits. You can buy like little gram bars, little ounces of silver. Buy what you can. You don't need to go and spend $1,000 in gold and silver, but as things are progressing along, if you have an extra $100 one paycheck, buy a gram of gold, a gram of gold, an ounce of silver, a gram of gold, ounce of silver. Whatever you can afford for, say, whatever your budget is. If it's $100, then maybe you can get some gold and some silver. If it's $35, maybe all you can get is some silver. But definitely start looking at that. And then the other thing to kind of go along with that would be barter items. So number 10, last one on the list there, is going to be gold, silver, and barter items that kind of go along with that currency-wise. And as a bonus for you guys, this one's kind of a jokey bonus, but it actually is something that could be utilized very well as a barter item to go along with that. Is going to be paper products. So toilet paper, tissues, paper towels. I wouldn't say hoard it like we saw during the pandemic, but if you go and you buy some toilet paper, buy an extra every time you go, and then that way every time you're buying an extra, and you can stock some up. So if you do get to the point to where you need it or you need to barter with it, it's there and you have it. So there's the 10 things plus our little bonus of the paper items. I hope you guys enjoyed this list. And if you enjoy the content, please like, share, subscribe. And every little bit helps. Thank you. Appreciate it. And have a good day.